Welcome to the Financial Administrative Services Committee meeting for December the 6th. On this committee is myself, Councillor Blackmore as chair, Councillor Bressie, Councillor Palat, and Mayor Clayton. I don't see Mayor Clayton online right now, but we will keep track of that to see if she's able to join us. We have no delegation, so we're going to leap right into our service area update and ask Ms. Whiteway to lead that for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Blackmore. So just a few quick updates. The assessment team is inspecting permits from now until the end of the year to assess conditions at December 31st. Finance is working in collaboration with our communications team to ensure that the complete budget book subsequent to approval is released this week. Our procurement team has hosted a couple workshops. This includes an overview of responsibility for those evaluating RFPs. What the focus was is to help facilitate meaningful debriefs for any bidders that are unsuccessful. Additionally, there was a workshop with the Surety Association of Canada regarding performance bonds and labor and material bonds, which was well attended by engineering, corporate facilities management, and the procurement team. And finally, our GIS ITS have completed an upgrade to CityView, which is the platform used for permits and inspections, which offers a new, more modern user interface. And that concludes my update.
Thank you. And do we have any questions? I'll start with Councillor Bressie.
Great, thank you. It might already be the plan, but is Council able to get some printed versions of the updated budget book?
Thank you, through the chair. Yes, we can provide those to you once it's complete.
Great, awesome. I love to carry that around to reference throughout the year. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we will move on to the moment we've been waiting 3 months for, our third quarter update for financial reports.
Thank you, Chair Blackmore. So I'll be quick and assume that you've reviewed the report and the appendix that was provided. But today the recommendation is that committee receive the unaudited financial statements and supporting information for the quarter ending September 30th, 2022. And I'll just briefly speak to it. But management does anticipate a surplus of approximately $1 million by year end. This does represent about a 0.52% variance from the total operating budget. The anticipated year-end forecast led to extensive challenges, causing significant aggressive efforts by management to mitigate the risk of any shortfalls realized by December 31st, 2022. The city maintains a net financial asset position and accumulated surplus, indicating that there are sufficient resources to support future services. The city is also well within provincially prescribed debt and servicing limits as required by the MGA and maintains sufficient reserves to support fiscal prudency. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Whiteway. Do we have any questions? I'll start with Councillor Bressie.
Great, thank you, Chair Blackmore. I do have two questions, if that's okay. One is for transportation. Obviously, snow removal's a big risk of fluctuation there. How many remaining rounds of residential transportation did we assume in this variance? And are we on track for that estimate?
Go ahead, Ms. Whiteway.
Thank you, Chair Blackmore. Yeah, we have, I believe, one more round before year end included within this forecast. So we did anticipate extra rounds this year, so it's been built in.
Great, awesome. And then a question about the attendance, if I may. So there is an attendance report in here. What's the process to determine if somebody's absent for city business or just absent?
Thank you, through the chair. Basically, if you tell us that it's city business, then we can add it as such. Otherwise, I'm not sure, and I'm the one who compiles that. Okay,
so if I'm going to be absent, I should let you know if it's city business.
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Okay, and Councillor Palat.
Thanks, Chair Blackmore. Just on the summary of the capital projects for the end of the quarter, I'm just wondering if there's another level of detail that would show specific projects. I'm just kind of thinking we just went through a fairly onerous budget time and we had lots of items. We went line by line by line, and this has kind of got them all lumped into categories, which I can appreciate. But I do get asked, or I did get asked last term when we close off stuff of, did we really spend $50,000 on that thing? And in this, I wouldn't be able to really tell. So I'm wondering if there's another level of detail that we would get on an annual basis. I don't need to necessarily see it quarterly, but I wonder on an annual, for all the capital items we've approved in the previous budget, if there would be at least a one-liner that would go across for all of them.
Go ahead, Ms. Waitway.
Thank you, Chair Blackmore. So absolutely, of course, we have all of that detail. I suppose we do update committee and council in the middle of the year. So around Q2, we do the mid-year capital review. Perhaps that's an opportunity we could show an extra level of detail for projects.
And I guess for me, that would be great, Ms. Whitway. I guess for me, just even at the end of the year, just to see where we're sitting with capital projects. Mid-year would be great, but if there's that level of detail at the end of the year, I'd much appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm just going to ask a follow-up question about that. So when we do a mid-year report at the end of quarter two, is it up until the end of quarter two, or is it for the previous financial year?
Thank you, Chair Blackmore. So we would do an update of where we are at as of
At that point?
At that point in time, that's right.
So I think what Councillor Palat is really asking for is a year-end update on how our contracts ended up, what they ended up costing us in the long run. Yeah. Do we have any other questions? I'm not seeing any hands shoot up in the air, so I would ask for a motion to move this forward. Councillor Palat.
Thanks, Chair Blackmore. I just make a motion that we receive these reports for information.
And that is in order. I'll call a question. And that is carried. So moving on to our outstanding items list. Again, Ms. Whiteway.
Thank you, Chair Blackmore. So since the last committee meeting, we've added 5 new items to the outstanding items list. These are as a result of discussions at budget deliberations. So we're expecting to provide some further information on some capital projects that was requested of us. Plan to bring that back in the first quarter of 2023. We're going to look at some information regarding the possibilities of borrowing to assist in upgrades at facilities that are not city-owned. So we'll be bringing that back in the second quarter of 2023. We're going to do a reserve analysis as well, looking at the facility renewal reserve and what it can be used for. That'll be in the first quarter of 2023. We also will return with fees and charges policy review. So we're going to take a look at the current structure and present some information back in the second quarter. And finally, we are going to be bringing back information on results from our ERP implementation and how to measure the successes from this project. And that's expected in Q2 as well. Thanks.
Thank you. Are there any questions regarding the outstanding items list? Seeing no hands fly into the air, I will ask Councillor Bressie to make that motion.
Great, so moved.
That is in order. We'll call a question. And that does carry. So that will adjourn the Financial and Administrative Services Committee meeting, and we will come back again in 5 minutes with our next meeting. Thank you.